These days, we've all been ghosted. If you haven't, no need to share that with me. I'm super happy for you. If you've never been ghosted, you've definitely ghosted someone else. So now you get to know what it feels like from the other side. My first haunting was so long ago, I had never even heard of the term ghosting. I don't even think it was in our lexicon yet. Those were the days. Hi, I'm Kelly Shanley, and this is For Love or Peanut Butter, a true life dating podcast in which a seemingly eligible yet perpetually single woman, that's me, finally delves into the why and the how she has remained single into her mid-30s. And she changes her life forever. His name was Levi. He was a bonny redhead with blue eyes and a beard, but not a monster beard. More than a Backstreet Boy, less than a lumberjack. I was very excited to meet him. He was even cuter in person than online. A reverse catfish, if you will. I was thrilled. We hit it off instantly, talking so much we had to keep sending the waitress away because we hadn't even looked at the menu yet. Yep. We were those people. After the third time the waitress came around, we finally focused on the menu, starting with drinks. When I mentioned a whiskey cocktail, his eyes widened. You like whiskey? Yeah, it's my favorite. You should just marry me now. I giggled coyly. And by that, I mean I guffawed and snorted like an extra in Scarface, then gathered myself and attempted to giggle coyly. The waitress returned and Levi ordered for me. Not in a macho 1700s, she's a woman and can't read the menu kind of way, but in a sexy, I was listening when you talked kind of way. And he gave me a seductive little wink when he ordered my whiskey tango foxtrot.
Guys, lady boners over here.
We already had an inside joke. The cocktails were great. My entree selection, not so much. They had a seafood salad that sounded good on paper, but when it came out, it was a massive pile of shellfish and a heavy, creamy dressing on top of lettuce. Ugh. Not the daintiest thing I could have ordered.
Arg, me mateys.
I was suddenly very aware of the fact that I might not want to smell like shellfish if we were going to have a goodnight kiss. And I really wanted a goodnight kiss. I did not want to be the girl who was really great, except she kind of tasted like Fruity de Mare when I kissed her.
Oh, boy, that was yummy.
So I just picked at the salad, wishing I had ordered the pasta instead. It didn't matter. Levi was charming, the banter was endless, and I was already rehearsing in my head how to break it to my roommate that I would be moving out. I didn't want the date to end yet, so when Levi asked if I wanted dessert, I almost said, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" But I caught myself and said, "Yes, please," instead. We shared a chocolate peanut butter cake a la mode and stared into each other's eyes like a couple of disgusting teenagers in line at a theme park. After dinner, for which he paid and I thanked him graciously, Levi held my hand as we walked to the car, and I just about melted. There's something about a guy holding your hand on a first date that just hits differently. Like when a cat caller shouts about how smart you look instead of how your ass fits in your pants. That's never happened to me, but I imagine it would feel pleasant and non-threatening. Levi kissed me goodnight and waved from the curb as I drove away. I almost melted again, which is very dangerous when operating a motor vehicle, so I controlled myself and maintained my solid form. I was on cloud 9 when I got the "I had a great time tonight" text a little while later. All signs were pointing to marriage.
Marriage.
Or at least a second date, and then definitely marriage. The next day, I waited to hear from Levi. I did not. Or the next day. Or the next.
Sad sigh.
I thought of the classic 3-day rule from every rom-com of the late 90s and early 2000s. According to Baby Vince Vaughn and Swingers,
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Levi was definitely in love with me and just didn't want to appear desperate or clingy. I mean, it was all I could do to wait 3 days, so I was certain he had also taped his phone inside of 3 grocery bags, a fanny pack, and a suitcase, then buried it deep in the trunk of his car so as not to tempt fate. On the 4th day, I texted him. I literally couldn't take it any longer. I ripped my phone from its bondage, my hands sweating and shaking as I typed the message out 40 different ways. Ahem. Sup? Hey, stranger, how have you been? Hi, sorry I didn't text you sooner. Did you text me? I'm so sorry if I missed it. Still thinking about those whiskey drinks and that marriage proposal, wink, wink. We did it, Levi. We lasted 3 whole days without calling each other. Glad that's over. Grinning, sweating emoji. Hey, Levi, who was that comedian you said you liked again? Wanted to get tickets to go see them. Hey, when's our second date? Not that I've been thinking about it constantly for 3 days or anything, but I thought we could do a nice sunset viewing at the beach with a light picnic from Trader Joe's and a cute photo sesh. Levi, I'm desperate for your love.
Dignity. Always dignity.
Whatever I wrote was definitely a combo of all of the above. Like a frozen yogurt swirl of anxiety and insecurity, topped with the last remaining crumbles of my dignity. Hours later, his response. Out of town for work for a couple weeks, but let's meet up when I'm back.
You gotta be kidding me.
I know what you're all thinking. Out of town, that's a blow off. I know this now, but I did not know this then. When he told me that he wanted to see me, I believed him because I had already named our future redheaded children, Annie and Aiden, and started packing my things for the move. I did not know what was expected of me throughout the 2 weeks. If he would text me, call me, send an owl, fly me out to see him, no idea. We hadn't exactly laid out a plan, so I just waited to see what he did. He did nothing. No calls, no texts. This was pre-Instagram, so I couldn't stalk him on there. I was losing faith, but I didn't want to be one of those girls who complains about the guy not being proactive, but then is never proactive herself. So instead of unpacking my things, I texted him. Just like a super nonchalant, "Hi, Levi, hope your work week is going well," dripping with anguish. No response. Well, he did say he was working and traveling. I was sure he'd get back to me. A day went by. Still no response.
That was way harsh, Ty.
I've been ghosted plenty of times, and I recognize it instantly now. Unfortunately, it's become a very common, even accepted aspect of our dating rules of engagement. Kind of like dick pics.
It's a pretty low bar these days.
But this was the first time it had happened to me. I was new to online dating, and Levi had held my hand. We had an inside joke 5 minutes in. Not to mention lingering for dessert, the goodnight kiss, the same night follow-up text. I know that not every person I crush on is going to love me back, but what the actual fuck was going on? Some of my brain's attempts to make sense of what was happening included, maybe he doesn't have reception. Maybe his phone broke. Oh, maybe he messaged me on OkCupid. He didn't. Maybe I have the wrong number. No, he did send me the one text. Maybe he's sick and can't deal with communication right now. Maybe he's in the hospital. Maybe he broke his thumbs. Maybe he broke his arms. Did he get into a car accident? A plane crash? Is he dead? Hey, Google, did someone named Levi die in Los Angeles? Sadly, the thought he's just not that into you didn't cross my mind for a full 2 weeks. It wasn't until the date of his supposed return home that I finally let it hit me. He still hadn't reached out, and he was definitely back in town, if he had ever really left. I sent one final text. "Welcome home, Levi. I'm going fucking crazy over here," being the casual subtext. And I received, you guessed it, no response. So that was it. I had to face the fact that Levi had, in fact, died a tragic and untimely death. I would forever be haunted by his beautiful ghost face, floating just behind the head of my inferior suitor on every first date, wafting from every bottle of Maker's Mark I would ever open, appearing on my wedding day well into my late 30s because it will have taken me that long to grieve the loss of what might have been. R.I.P. Levi, whose last name I never found out. R.I.P. Why? What did you guys think I meant when I said he ghosted me? I'm Kelly Shanley, and this is For Love or Peanut Butter. For Love or Peanut Butter is created, written, and performed by me, Kelly Shanley. Produced and edited by Z. Rodriguez Thomas for Mind Jam Media. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast and leave us a glowing review. If you can't wait to hear the next one, check out the column of the same name on Medium. Link in show notes. And be sure to follow me on social media. On Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at Kelly A. Shanley. On YouTube, Facebook, and Medium, at Kelly Shanley. Thanks so much for listening, and stay crunchy out there. Or smooth. All signs. All signs. We're pointing to marriage. That was that. Marriage. I'm just going to mash Tom DeLonge with The Princess Bride. All signs. We're pointing to marriage. Okay.